The Dallas Stars look to bounce back in Game 2 against the Edmonton Oilers. A Roope Hintz return is possible. Can the Dallas Stars bottom six step up? And let's play Shooting Star. It's a Game 2 preview on Locked On Stars.
You're Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans, and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. It's a pleasure to be with you. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105.3 The Fan. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. The Dallas Stars find themselves in a very familiar position. After one game to start a series, they trail, and they look to bounce back tonight in Game 2 against the Edmonton Oilers at the American Airlines Center. Coming at you with a Game 2 preview on Locked On Stars. I will not be able to upload a Game 2 reaction. I'll be at a wedding tonight. I'll be checking in on the score and be watching as much as possible, but I will be occupied for most of the night. So figured I would give you a full Game 2 preview, plenty to talk about, including Roope Hintz. He is a game time decision tonight, so that is a possible for the Dallas Stars. We'll have to keep an eye out on number 24, see if he joins the team for warmups. He's been skating. He was at the optional morning skate today, so that is a good sign, and things are progressing. And if Roope Hintz can return, that is a big injection into the lineup. Everybody knows that, and that'll be a very, very nice addition to this Stars lineup. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 with any winning $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/locked-on to get started. After a couple days of chewing on game number 1, I thought the Stars' overall play was C+ to a C. And even that may be a bit generous. I think Dallas can play a much better version of themselves. Offensively, it was a struggle, and you have to tip your cap to Edmonton for some of those struggles. They played pretty tight defensively, but Dallas started to get better as the game wore along. But Roope Hintz, if he is able to go, just provides an extra gear, right? It's that extra step. He can drive his line, and Dallas was a step slow. I thought they were a step slow getting to loose pucks, engaging in battles, and I would like them to at least get on a forecheck, a more consistent forecheck. You didn't get a ton out of Wyatt Johnston. You didn't get a ton out of Robertson for the most part. Some key guys for Dallas need to step up here tonight in Game 2 to even this series heading to Edmonton for Game 3. That does bring some comfort knowing Dallas did not play their best game, and they hung around with Edmonton for the entire night, actually played a pretty decent overtime period, but it was a missed opportunity at the end of the day. You get a 4-minute power play in overtime. You have to find a way to bury that. We all know it, and Robertson hit a couple of posts, which was unfortunate, and maybe the Game 2 is going to be interesting. I would love to see Dallas come out with a physical edge. I thought we saw that against Colorado, especially in the second round. The Stars made a real tone of, hey, how much do you want it in this series? Because we're going to come hard. We're going to bang bodies, and we're going to be extra, extra physical tonight, and we're going to see how much you want to play. And this is how we're going to play the rest of the series, and you're going to have to match this level, match this energy, this desperation if you want to win this series. I think if the Stars can come out and really punish Edmonton, their back end is not very strong. For the first time in this postseason, I think you can say Dallas has the edge defensively, at least in terms of depth. Bouchard was fantastic for Edmonton in Game 1, and he seems to be the straw that stirs the drink for Edmonton. Miro had a very meh game, to be completely honest. If Miro can have his usual consistent high level of play, along with Harley, I thought he had a game to forget. Miro and Harley are two that can elevate their play. Even Chris Tanev and Esa Lindell, for the most part, had their issues in game one, just weren't as strong on the puck. I thought Dallas in general on the walls wasn't particularly good. I thought Edmonton did a great job on their forecheck. They created some turnovers. And when you look at some of the numbers, especially shots wise, you look at guys like Evander Kane, who had 4 shots. McDavid had 3. And of course, he's going to get his opportunities. But Nugent Hopkins had 4 shots. Some of the role players for Edmonton were able to generate offense, specifically that bottom 6. And we'll get into this a bit more, but the McLeod line, the Sam Carrot line, really made an impact. And I thought tired out the Dallas defense a few times, which sets up guys like Draisaitl and McDavid. You saw it coming out of TV timeouts, even in overtime off icings. Knobloch would load up Draisaitl along with Hyman and McDavid to get them out against some tired bodies, and they ended up capitalizing on one of them. And those are situations where you're going to see Edmonton really load up and take advantage. I also think it sends a statement from Edmonton's side, hey, I don't know if we can keep up with you for an entire series, so to speak, or for long stretches of play, because maybe our depth isn't quite as good. But when our depth is playing above average, so to speak, and we're wearing you out and we're playing with the puck, we're dictating play, Dallas is on their heels, maybe not defending as intelligently as they would have liked. And then we're going to load up our superstars against whoever, and we're going to take our superstars against everybody, as they should. I think they're setting that tone. Like, if you allow us to do this, we are going to punish you. And I thought that was sort of a case in game one where the big boys for Edmonton really, really punished Dallas. Obviously, you get goals from Draisaitl, Hyman, and McDavid. It's the 3-headed monster right there, and Bouchard was great as well with a couple of points. Also, I thought there were some funky bounces that didn't go their way, or some bounces that didn't go Edmonton's way. The Hyman goal, that's a case where Hyman gets through 3 stars, and it was defended pretty well. It was an odd-man rush. Tanev gets a stick on it, and then Hyman is just hungry and worked hard, and eventually was able to slip one through Ottinger's 5-hole. And you would have loved for Otter to save it, but that's just really, really hard work from Zach Hyman. And Dallas needs a bit more of that in their game. There wasn't a whole lot of energy or juice. It felt like they were a step behind, and maybe being off for more than 3 days, some of that latency crept into their game. They just weren't as crisp. They need to find their they were a bit unvarnished, you would say. So there's a lot to improve on, and I think Dallas is going to come out with a real physical tone setter, led by Jamie Benn and led by guys like Mason Marchment, to sort of set a tone here for game 2. Edmonton, hey, you're going to have to want this one really, really badly, because it's a very important game for Dallas, obviously. And you don't want to call it a must-win game, and I don't think you should, based off the track record of Dallas on the road in this postseason. But we all know the significance of heading to game 3 tied at 1, especially after they took home ice away from you. And home ice at this point doesn't matter, with the ability for Dallas to go on the road and win hockey games. We've seen that. Are we going to get Stuart Skinner from game 1? He hasn't shown the ability to be consistent night in and night out. And he's looked really good from game 7 against Vancouver to game 1. I thought he was spectacular. The goaltending in general was spectacular. Dallas needs to force him to make really, really tough saves. They need to be very liberal with their shooting, throw pucks towards the crease, throw pucks in the mixer, as they call it, that 5-foot radius around the crease, and get some bounces to go your way. Get him moving side to side. I thought for the most part, Edmonton really cut off that seam pass. They were really good with their sticks and discipline, which also forced Dallas into making some very negative plays. They were not taking what was given. They need to take what Edmonton is giving, even if it's on the outside. Get pucks towards Skinner. You hit a couple of posts. You know you're going to get traffic in front of him, and guys like Pavelski are going to be there, Ben, Sagan, in those areas to clean it up. Get some more second chance opportunities. I thought Skinner did a great job of rebound control, number one, and it was a lot of one and done for Dallas. It felt like even on their power play, just some one and done opportunities. If you look at the shots on goal, Stars at 8 shots on 5 power plays, so 10 minutes of power play time. Like that's not going to cut it at all. And you have to also see from the other side, at some point, Edmonton is going to get some opportunities on the man advantage. They only got one yesterday. I don't know if you can live like that the rest of the series. These things have a way of evening out, right? Stripes have a way of evening these things out. And Dallas did a great job of playing hard for the most part and staying disciplined. How much longer can they do that? Because Edmonton is going to put pressure on, and they're going to get their fair share of opportunities. That's why game 1 was such a missed opportunity with the 5 power plays that you had. But Dallas is still a very good team, right, folks? They're still a really, really good team. And I think a lot of people expected the Stars to be down a game after game 1 because they've now lost 7 straight. So we'll see how they bounce back tonight. For the most part, they've had a really, really good, bounce back. I think game 2 is setting up to be a real physical tone for Dallas, and hopefully they can bring that. And with Roope Hintz being a game time decision, looking at him skating right now is a very, very good sign. So hopefully Roope is able to go. And I talked about this after game 1. I may have not eloquently put it the right way into words due to just being exhausted after some of these late games. But having Roope back allows everybody else to fall into a spot where I think they are most successful. Right now with Roope out, Pete DeBoer's done a great job of juggling up lines and finding a way to get some offense. But if you have Roope back, you can go back to Roope with Robertson and Pavelski, or even Johnston is a line that is very viable. But then you have Sagan that can go back with his partners in Duchesne and Marchment. That's a line that was your most consistent, and for the most part, for a large part of the year, your best trio. And I know towards the end, it was really Johnston with Stankoven and Ben. If Johnston's on that top line, you put Pavelski with Stankoven and Ben as well. And then the fourth line is whoever. Oh, don't forget about Dodonov either. He's somebody I gloss over all the time. But Dodonov is a great versatile forward. You can put with Ben and Pavelski, or Ben with Stankoven. Or if you want, you can keep him with Duchesne and Sagan. I know we've seen that line a bit. And there are a lot of options. I think that's the benefit of having this much depth for Pete DeBoer and company is you have different options to make things happen. And there are a lot of different trios that can produce for you. But Roope is the extra meat of the operation. And Roope in the lineup, even if he's not 100%, provides some speed. He provides some creativity. And he's a big part. He's a big part of the offensive equation. He wins faceoffs, and he's a really good two-way forward. He's not a liability in your own zone, and his offense can certainly help. He started to get going there in that Colorado series before he had to exit game 4, I believe, in Colorado. So, yes, he's a big part of the equation. I think the Stars need Roope Hintz to win a Stanley Cup. I think they need him to win a Stanley Cup. He's a key 1A center for Dallas. I think they can still get past Edmonton without him. And maybe that's and maybe that's just the ego in me from watching this team so consistently for what 6-7 months now, and I just think they're better than everybody else to some degree. But yeah, he's a big key. Okay, on the other side of things, the bottom six for Dallas needs to step up because the bottom six outplayed Dallas. The bottom six for Edmonton outplayed Dallas in game one. What can we expect from the bottom six for Dallas to help them even this series up at 1 apiece after tonight? And we'll do that in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by Indeed. There is no I in team, but there is one in Indeed, and that's the hiring platform you need to build yours. When you're hiring, you need Indeed. Indeed is a hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Instead of spending hours on multiple job sites searching for candidates with all the right skills, Indeed's a powerful hiring platform that can help you do it all. They streamline hiring with powerful tools that find you matched candidates, and you don't have to spend a ton of time looking at resumes that don't match your job description. Indeed cuts out all of that slack, and it shows you quality candidates whose resume on Indeed matches your job description the moment you sponsor a job. Even better, Indeed's the only job site where you can only pay for applicants that meet your must-have requirements. So join more than 3 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. Start hiring now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/lockedon. Offer good for a limited time. Claim your $75 credit now at Indeed.com/lockedon. Once again, Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. So the Stars look to get back at the Oilers here in Game 2. Puck drop is scheduled for 7:30. It is available on TNT. And, of course, the Oilers with a 1-0 series advantage. Really, really looking forward to the rest of this series in general. I think it's going to provide a lot of fireworks. And if Game 1's any indication of how this thing will go, it should be a good one, and I think a long series at the end of the day. I feel like no matter what team is dominating or for the most part controlling each game within this series, I don't think you can count either side out. Look at Game 1. Stars weren't playing their best, and they find a way to tie the game. And with Edmonton's firepower at the end of the day and their ability to score on the power play and special teams in general, like we obviously highlighted their power play, but the PK needs to be shown some love as well. They're going to find themselves in games, even if it's a 2-goal, 3-goal lead. So I think that makes for some very, very entertaining hockey here the rest of the way. One of the keys I took out of Game 1, and I thought for the most part was probably a difference in the game for the Oilers, was their bottom six that played very, very good. And I spoke to some of the shots on goal numbers earlier, but if you look towards the bottom six for Edmonton in Game 1, Derek Ryan, 2 shots on goal. Nurse with a couple of shots. Kulak with a couple of shots. I know they're defensemen, but Sam Carrick with a couple of shots. Holloway with a couple. McLeod had 3 shots on goal. And they ended up with a total of 38 on the night. But those are the type of role players for Edmonton that they need to step up and at least play to the same level as Dallas's bottom six to not have a chance in the series, but to win this series against Dallas. I thought the McLeod trio with Fogle and Derek Ryan was instrumental in Game 1. And it's not that they produced a ton of offense or generated a ton of looks. They didn't score, but they played in the offensive zone for the majority of their shifts. They controlled the puck. You look at their Corsi number was 61%, which was third highest. Even the fourth line with Carrick, Janmark, and Brown had a Corsi percentage of 57%. And they produced some scoring chances and scoring looks. It's not that, even if it's not just dependent on, if they score, a lot of it is keeping Dallas 200 feet away from their own net. And this is where you need the Johnston line, and you need Fox's line, the fourth line, to really, really contribute. And I thought for the most part, Fox's line was held in check against Edmonton. We've seen throughout the first couple of rounds, that line has really set a tone for Dallas, and has basically what every line is trying to do, right? You hear this cliche of leave the ice in a better spot, in a better position for the next line that's jumping on than when you got out there. And I think the Fox line is one that usually sets up whoever it is, Robo's or Ben's line, up for success when they leave the ice. And I thought for the most part, Edmonton had tilted the rink, and they were really, really strong defensively against the Stars. Can they do that again? I think that is a big question. Can they get really nice performances out of CC again? And Kulak, I know he had the just abomination of a turnover on Sagan's first goal, but I thought played a pretty nice game for them in all intents and purposes. So there are opportunities for Dallas to take advantage of the bottom six defensemen for Edmonton. You need more out of Johnson. You need some more out of Stankoven, who I thought actually had a really, really solid game one. Seemed to be one of the few Stars forwards that was just buzzing around, trying to make things happen. Didn't always come to fruition, but he was hungry on the puck. He was trying to at least create some energy. And I think a lot of others can follow suit in that department. So the bottom six, and we've talked about it ad nauseum throughout the year, depth. Stars are going to need it moving on, especially if Roope's not going to be in the lineup. And even if he is, Stars need the Foxes, the Smiths of the world to have some moments. And the bottom six for Edmonton outplayed Dallas, hands down, in game one. That cannot be the case moving forward. If Dallas wants to win this series, Smith and Steele need to have an impact along with Foxa and whoever else is going to be your third line, whether it's been with Johnson, Pav, whether it's going to be Marchment, Dadonov, Duchesne, who knows, or Sagan. It doesn't matter. They need to have an impact, right? Is what I'm trying to get to. So that is, I think, going to be a key here in game two tonight. I'm curious to see what the bottom six looks like, because I think a lot of you can concur watching game one. You're like, wow, McLeod's having a nice game. Like he's making things happen. Even Janmark, for the most part, was making some plays. So Dallas wants to stretch out Edmonton. You could get that sense in the middle period, especially. Dallas was flying guys high above Edmonton's defenseman. You saw Dadonov get loose in that first period, and it's very intentional. It's not just cherry picking, right? And I think it is something Dallas can take advantage of, where Edmonton, for the most part, on their back end, they got a little sleepy a few times. And the way Dallas likes to play, especially off faceoffs in their own zone, they win a draw, and whoever that winger is just flies. And you see it with Dadonov a ton. He just sprints to the far blue line and becomes an option on an outlet pass. Dallas can take advantage of Edmonton maybe being caught sleeping a few times and get some of those odd man rushes and just get some numbers. I felt like they were outnumbered for the most part in the game. And that's another credit to Edmonton. I thought they back-checked really hard. They were disciplined and marking, green sweaters and just taking some options away. Dallas needs to find a way to get some numbers against the Oilers, and good things will happen. So looking forward to that little chess match ensuing here over the next couple of weeks. Game ones are always fun, and game ones don't mean a ton in the grand scheme of things. You can come back from a 1-game deficit. You can come back from 2. The Stars have seen it. I think game 1 is always that feeling out process of, all right, what is the series going to shape up to be? How is each side looking to expose each other's weaknesses? And how can we adjust to that moving forward? And I'm confident in Pete DeBoer and company and the coaching staff, which has been phenomenal in making the right adjustments and pushing the right buttons to find a way to expose the Edmonton side. And Dallas is in a really good spot. They're very good on the road. For the most part, you have to be happy if the Stars are at a 1-1 tie heading to Edmonton with the way they've played on the road this season. This home ice advantage is just a whole bunch of muck at this point. I think road teams are heavily in favor so far in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and that just seems to be the case here this year. So, alrighty, let's end with some fun. Let's not bore you with more strategy and numbers. Let's have some fun. Let's play Shooting Star. I haven't done it yet throughout the Stanley Cup playoffs. A segment we did throughout the regular season. Who is going to lead the Stars to victory tonight? Who's it going to be? I'll tell you my pick in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by FanDuel. There is no better time to get in on the action with FanDuel. The NBA, the NHL, the postseason is in full swing. Wearing my Dallas Mavericks Luka Doncic t-shirt here today after he hits the big game winner over Rudy Gobert. Oh my God, it is winner take all time. It's time to get in on the action with FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make every playoff shot count. The Dallas Mavericks, the Dallas Stars are all trying to get to the finals. It's no better time to be a DFW sports fan. Sprinkle some money on the Stars and the Mavericks to win their respective championships. Can you imagine the American Airlines Center with the Mavs and Stars playing on every other night? Oh my goodness, it would be a free-for-all. So use FanDuel to have some fun. That's $150, as I mentioned, in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. My shooting star pick for game 2 of the Dallas Stars and Edmonton Oilers. Please put your comments in the comment section. Please put your pick in the comment section is what I was trying to say. Love to read those before each game. My shooting star pick to lead the Stars to victory. Maybe not the sexy pick by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm going off of what I saw in game 1 from this particular player, and I think he's going to get rewarded tonight. Logan Stankoven. Give me the rookie Stanky to have an impressive night against the Oilers with his ability to just muck it up, and he is flying around the sheet, making things happen. It's about time he gets rewarded. I'm looking at Logan Stankoven to be the shooting star tonight for the Dallas Stars, lead Dallas back to victory, and it's a 1-1 tie heading to game 3 in Edmonton. Let me know your pick in the comment section below. Give me a reason. Give me a final score prediction as well. Some very, very exciting stuff on the horizon. Is Roope Hintz going to be back tonight in the lineup? Who knows? It would be a nice addition. Obviously, can the Stars' bottom 6 step up here tonight, outplay Edmonton's, and can Logan Stankoven be the difference maker tonight. I'm going with Stanky. Hopefully he is the one that can get things rolling for the Dallas Stars. Alrighty, that'll wrap up a Game 2 preview for you here on Locked On Stars. Hope everybody is enjoying your weekend so far. As I said earlier, no Game 2 reaction, unfortunately. We'll be at a wedding tonight, getting the groove on, and probably a little bit more than that. So take that for what you will, but I'll have my eyes glued on the score and on my phone watching the game for the most part. Yes, I am going to be that person at the wedding. I apologize in advance. That's just the way I am, and I'm sure many of you would be the same way. So cut me some slack. Anyways, enjoy Game 2. We'll be back to a regular scheduled programming on Monday. That'll do it. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. As always, thank you guys so much for the support. Seriously, I haven't done this in a while, and I know I do it a ton, and maybe you get tired of hearing it, but thank you so much for tuning in every day and just soaking it in. I know it can get a bit tedious, and maybe I say the same things over and over again, but trying to break up some of that monotony, have some different guests on, which I think just brings a new perspective, and that's what makes hockey great at the end of the day. We can be watching the same thing and have totally different perspectives on everything. So love to hear everybody else's perspectives. You can follow Locked On Stars on Twitter. Follow Joy the Jet 19 on Twitter as well. And we'll keep this thing moving. Game 2, Stars, Oilers, 7:30 puck drop at the American Airlines Center. Enjoy it tonight, and then we will see you on Monday. So long, Stars fans.